I bet that you are like me and you absolutely hate making mistakes in your bullet journal or your planner. I don't know if you can tell, but there are two mistakes in this spread that are bugging me. If you want to know what those are, and if you want to know how you can fix mistakes in your planner or bullet journal or prevent them altogether, then stay tuned because I've got a great video for you today. Let's fix some mistakes. Hi there, it's Kara from The Hooting Pirate, and today we're going to be talking about mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, we're all human, so first what I want to sort of address is the fact that we're all human and we're going to make mistakes. And the further you can get away from trying to be perfect, the easier it's going to be on you. I am a recovering perfectionist, so I feel your pain if you're going through that. It is so hard. It is more difficult to try to achieve perfection than it is to correct mistakes or even to be okay with it. If you can be okay with making mistakes, knowing going in that you're going to make a mistake, it's going to be that much easier. It's really hard if you're expecting your page to be perfect and then at the very last minute you make a mistake, or even at the beginning. It's just hard. So if you go in knowing that it's not going to be perfect, you're human and it's completely normal to make mistakes, then you're going to make life a lot easier on yourself, because we're all human and we're all in this together. And I know I'm the first one to beat myself up if I make a mistake, or I'm getting better at it, but I don't want you beating yourself up. So first, I'm going to give you some tips on how to prevent making mistakes. And then I will give you, I think I have about 7 or 8 different ways that you can either camouflage a mistake, cover it up, or fix it completely. So first off, I want to just show you a couple mistakes that I've made with this page so that you can see that nothing is perfect. I love the way this looks, but it's anything but perfect. So first, if you want to check out the video where I made this, I'll put the link. But you can see here at the very last thing I did, I made this little Valentine and I wrote "to me from you." Now that just sounds silly. I wanted to put "to you from me," but whatever, I left it. It's not a big deal. It's a mistake. It's been looking at me all week, but whatever. I'm okay with it. I'm just gonna leave it. Another mistake that I made recently was I bought some stickers for my Erin Condren. Now I have a Erin Condren hardbound, and I just assumed that the boxes were the same size as the coil ones, but they're not. They're a little bigger. So these stickers here, they don't fit in my Erin Condren. They kind of float inside the boxes. So I realized that this half box fits right in this space where I put my to-do list, and these check boxes, I doubled them up even though I haven't gotten very far on my list yet, and they fit really good. So I've taken something that was a mistake, but I've used them somewhere else, so I'm going to use the rest of those stickers in this planner. Alright, so now that you see that my planner is not perfect, but far from, let's get into a little bit of prevention. And I think it's Benjamin Franklin who said that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So if you take a little bit of effort in the beginning, change your habits or try something a little different, it'll go a long way in preventing mistakes that in the end will take you a lot more time and effort to fix than it would have taken to prevent. So let's start. Why don't you, if you're just going at your planner with your pen, you're more likely to make mistakes right off the bat. So you could, first of all, practice on a scratch piece of paper so that when you get into your actual planner, it's going to look nicer. Or you can take a pen or a pencil. You could take a pencil, do it all in pencil first, and then go through and erase it. Or you can take a pen that's erasable. Those are the friction ones. So you can, if you make a mistake, you can go in, erase it. Probably should have waited until that was dry a bit better, because now it's not erasing. And then you can write it in. Again, I'm just going to show you that this does erase once you let the pen actually dry. See? So that goes away pretty easily. Another thing you could do is to use a fountain pen. This is probably my favorite choice because I love the way it writes, but also it erases really well. So I'm using, let's put, I'll just make a, I don't even know what that is. I'm just making things up. I'm going to let that dry before I show you how I fix that. And in the meantime, what did I want to show you? Yeah, straight lines. That was the other thing. So I don't know about you, but I'm terrible at making straight lines. So if you take dot paper or line paper, for example, or if you take if your bullet journal or planner doesn't have lines, you can put a line page underneath so that it shows through, and then it's easier. Or you can take this one, for example, and I've got all these dots that I can follow to make a relatively straight line. Or of course you can take a ruler, but I like the look of hand-drawn lines, so that's a good way to get a hand-drawn looking line without, you know, without it being sloppy. So now that's probably dry. So then you can just take one of these eraser pens and color over your mistake. And once that dries, give it a second. You just write in your correction. So that's because my kids don't even use pencils that much at school. They use the fountain pens and the corrector pens. All right, next let's get into correcting. So those are some preventative measures. So what did I say? We've got pencil and eraser. We have fountain ink and a corrector pen. A friction pen, I just happened to bring a green one. Using lines underneath or dot paper to make straight lines. Yeah, and practice, that was the other thing. And practice first, so that when you get to your page, you'll have some sort of muscle memory and you'll be able to nail it. You'll be less likely to make a mistake. All right, so now that we've got the prevention, let's talk about correction. So you can cover things up, you can camouflage it, or you can, sometimes you're able to fix things completely, but let's make a mistake first. Oops, I don't know. So what you can do, this is a Signo Uniball white pen, and it works kind of like liquid paper, and you can just draw over it. And the good thing about this is because it's a pen, you can go exactly on where the mistake was instead of like a liquid paper with a little brush. That's a bit more difficult to be precise. So this pen lets you get in there and really get where the mistake is and fix it just where it is. Or if you do make a big mistake, there, you can cover it up with corrective tape. This is kind of like a tape runner, but it's, I'm just going to cover that right up because I smudged it. The only thing with these is I find sometimes if I want to stop right at the edge of the word, it breaks off. But this is actually a really good one. This is T-Pex. And sometimes I find it'll give you a raggedy edge, but this one's pretty good. And then what I do is I like rub down the edges so that they don't fray. And then you can write on top of that. This pen didn't do a very good job, I have to say. Maybe it's, let's try this one. I've got two. No, that's just making it worse. But sometimes it works. Let's try it again. Let's try it with this pen. Maybe it has to do with the pen that's underneath it. But I do usually have success with it. I guess just not on camera. It's pretty dry. Maybe it's because it's dried out. No, it's coming now. Let's try. And of course I put it on the wet pen, so that doesn't help. See, I'm making mistakes in my video about making mistakes. Life is not perfect. There we go. You just want to have enough. You want to let it dry, and then you can put layers on. We'll come back and we'll do that one in a minute once it's had a chance to dry. Another thing that I like to do, kind of the same idea as the correction tape, is I will take paper, the same paper, like I took another page of this and I cut it up. So that way I can take a little strip and I can cover up my mistakes. And that way I have the exact same paper. I can even line up the dots or whatever kind of, if I have line paper to cover it up. Oh, I have to cover up the K, but I try not to smudge the white pen. And then you can just use like a tape runner and stick it down. My favorite though is label stickers. If you have some label stickers, you can take, these ones are great because they're kind of the height of my writing. There's a little bit at the top, but it covers it up pretty good. Or what I also like to do is to take the label and write, like if I write the word, I know it's going to be this long, so I'm going to write it again. And then I can cut it out. Let's cover this one because I want to use that white pen. Try not to rub it on because it's still wet ink. That's another thing, is wet inks, like these types, back to prevention for a second, these types of pens will smear. A felt pen is more likely to smear. So left-handers, if you know that you're going to go across and you're going to smear, just be careful of that and know that that's going to happen. Will also help prevent to make smears. Okay, so let's try this. I just left it with the cap off, so hopefully it's not too dry. And then if put on another layer, you see it's coming. It's still not perfect, but we're not after perfection, right? So just want it to look better than it did before. Okay, so this you can see is I think you can see it's not exactly the same color. It's a little creamier. So that's why this paper would be better maybe if that bothers you. Here I have a cream book. Let's just go on the back somewhere. So if I make a mistake, where did my correction thing go? Here it is. If I made a mistake on here, the cream is going to blend in a bit better. But also, I could use the white gel pen. It really isn't shocking to me. If it bothers you, you can find something that's the same color. Again, you can take a piece of paper from this book if the color difference bothers you. Now, just one thing about bound books compared to this one is like it's perforated, so I can just rip it out. But this one's bound, so I just wanted to give you another tip. If you go to the middle of the book, if I can find it, hang on. So once you find the middle, you can tell because it's got the stitching. Then you know this is all one sheet. These 2 pages are one sheet. So what you can do is pull out these 2 pages and keep them with your erasers, or keep them maybe in the back of your book. This one has a pocket. I could put it in the pocket. And you know those are your correction papers, and you can cut those up and use those whenever you make a mistake. So I think that's basically it for camouflaging things. Another idea I have is covering up your mistakes with something else. To just forget that the mistake is there by covering it up with something else. Maybe, for example, you write your name and, oops, you made a little line. So you can just cover it up. Just add a sticker. There, it's gone. But the problem is with that is you want the sticker to look like it was put there on purpose. So you don't want it to just look random. If you make a bunch of mistakes, it'll look like someone like sneezed stickers all over your planner or your bullet journal. So you want to make it look like it's there on purpose. So what's a good way to do that? A good way to do that is with clusters, and I love clusters. I have a whole video on how to make perfect clusters every time. So I'll link that for you as well. So you just have to layer stuff, and I do have a little formula on how to make it work. I'm just going to layer some things. Stick these down. I'm just doing it quickly. I'd probably put more adhesive than that, but I just want to show you quickly how to make a little cluster. So now, there wasn't a mistake there, but say there was one. That looks like it's there on purpose. I put that there on purpose. You'd never know there was a mistake underneath it. So whatever way you want, if you want to put a piece of scrapbook paper, if you want to cover the whole page with scrapbook paper, if the whole page is a mess, just cut a piece of paper to the size of the page, cover it up. You can make clusters, you can add a sticker, you can use washi. I use washi here, but like say for example you made like a wonky line. And it's perfect until you get to there. replace it with washi. Washi's great for making lines. I have a whole video on washi, and I'll link that as well. You can go check that out. But washi's fantastic for covering up mistakes, and I do show you how to cover up a mistake in that video. But you can use, I've got 21 different ways to use washi, and you can pretty much use all of them to cover up any mistake. So just to review different things that you can do to cover up mistakes, we use camouflaging with the label stickers, the corrective tape, the white pen, oops, and pieces of paper, pieces of the same paper. Or you can completely cover it and make it look like something else with washi, with a cluster, with a sticker, with scrapbook paper. Whatever your favorite way, you could take another piece of paper and draw on it and stick it down. I would draw on it first and then stick it. Don't stick it down the draw in case you make another mistake. But you know what I mean? You could do anything to cover up and make it look like you meant to put something else there. So if you like this video, please leave me a comment below and tell me what your favorite way to either prevent or to fix a mistake. And don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. And check out the videos so that you can figure out some other ways that you can use washi, or how to make your clusters perfect every time. Have a fantastic day and happy planning.